after this week, real soon. We are in, what are we in, chapter 3? Yes, chapter 3. Chapter 3, and by way of a review, we'll begin at verse 9, and really through verse 12, and then our study will begin at verses 12 and 13. Remember, chapter 1, Gentiles, they've fallen short because they were ungrateful. Chapter 2, Jews, fallen short because they took everything for granted. Okay. Chapter 3, all of us are guilty. All of us have fallen short. All right, verse 9. What then? Are we better than they? No, in no wise. For we have before proved, both Jews and Gentiles, that they are all under sin. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh after God. They are all gone out of the way. They are all together become unprofitable. There's none that doeth good, no, not one. And I want to begin by saying, man, the Calvinists love these verses. They think that we are just born in sin and we are just filthy, just by way of appearance, by existence, which is not true. That we can by no means understand what God has given us. We can understand the Bible. We're told that. When we read, we can understand. We cannot maybe perhaps fully understand. There are things that are questionable that we just don't understand, and perhaps we don't even need to know. Of course, God has given us all that we've needed to know. And what we don't know, we don't need to know. And so I put my full trust in that. I don't know why we have to be immersed completely underwater in order to become a Christian and come in contact with the blood of Jesus Christ. But do I need to know why? Nope. Why? He that is baptized shall be saved. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. My Lord said that. That's all I need to know. Okay. It says here, no, not one does good. We can do good in this world. We have the capabilities of doing good. We have the capabilities of being righteous. What is righteousness? If I'm going to be righteous, what must I do? Don't be shy. You know the answer to this. God's commandments, yeah. God's commandments. We can do God's commandments. How can we do that? By doing what the Bible says. That's it, right? Okay. Now I want you to look at verse 12 and look at some tenses of some verbs that I want us to pay close attention to. They are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There's none that doeth good, no, not one. Now look at those phrases there. They have gone out implies what? They weren't always out. They have become unprofitable implies what? There was at one time where we were profitable. Okay? There is some implication here. We're not born filthy sinners. Okay? Our children are absolutely innocent. Well, except maybe Asher. I have to tell you, last Sunday, we was walking out the door ready to head to Bible class, and he had his hand like this. He had his hand behind his back like this. You could see his elbow sticking out. I'm like, look at him. And he walks past us, and he doesn't change position so we can see what's in his hand. He got for Christmas a Mickey Mouse Pez dispenser. And he's trying to sneak it out the door. He knows better. Little sinner. Can you believe that? That dude is mischievous. We got to watch him. Y'all got to help me watch him. He's innocent. He has no idea that he's sinning against God. He has no idea. Yet the Calvinists want to teach that he's as guilty as sin. God is sovereign. God, if God wants to send him to hell, he will. Are you kidding me? That's not a God that we serve. That makes God a God of terror, not a God of love. And so we need to make sure Ezekiel 18:20, it plainly states, we don't inherit our father's sins, and the sin doesn't inherit the son's sins. We are responsible for our own sins, aren't we? Nobody can sin for me, and I can't obey for you. Yes, ma'am.
I don't understand Ezekiel 12, so I'm not, this may not even apply, especially the chapter of what's, but Ezekiel 28:15 sticks out to me. You were blameless in your ways from
Yep.
the day you were created until unrighteousness was found.
I'm so glad you brought that verse out, because that was going to be one of the verses we're about to read. But she already read it for us, so we don't have to do it. Ezekiel 28:15. You have the American Standard. All right. I have the King James, and both are great versions of the English Bible. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. You want to tell me that God made a filthy sinner person? Absolutely not. Everything that he makes, he sends, he gives, is good. Everything. What's so amazing about that is that life happens. We get hurt, we suffer, we lose things, we lose people, and we are so much in pain. But even in all that, God is amazing, and he gives us good things out of that. He makes us stronger. He reminds us that he's always with us and that he will never leave us, that he's always grieving with us, and that one day we will see those people again, or we will regain. I mean, even in the church, it's not uncommon when a family suffers, perhaps just, for example, a house fire. How many Christians are so quick to respond to that, to help that family? And if we're not that quick to respond to that, shame on us. And we will reap the punishment for that. But I've never seen a Christian go without. Never. And if he or she does go without, it's only because they choose. What do I mean by that? They don't ask for help, or we don't even know about it. And that is so hard on us as a church. It robs us, absolutely robs us of our opportunities to serve, to reap the rewards. That's not why we do it. We do it out of love. But we get rewards for it too. Heavenly rewards. So yeah, absolutely. And the elders are responsible for our souls. And if they don't know things, well, I'm too tough. I don't need help. I don't want your charity. What are you trying to get your charity? We're not trying to make you feel low. That's why people don't ask for help, because it makes them feel this tall. They got to change their hearts. They got to change their hearts. That's prideful. That's prideful. Okay?
You know, there's going to be some good things come out of this virus. So if you think about it, opportunities to help.
Absolutely.
Families getting closer.
When we were out sick, we've had so many families help us. You know, I told y'all I gained weight during my sickness. I mean, really, what a blessing Fairview is. That's the whole point, Raymond. That's the goal, to bring people back to God. Absolutely. Let's read 2 verses out of Matthew, what Jesus said. Matthew 18:3 and Matthew 19:14. Matthew 18:3, Matthew 19:14. Except ye be converted. That word converted is very interesting. Let me ask you this. Might be a trick question. Is everyone that comes out of the watery grave converted? It is a trick question, right?
I say no.
That's correct.
Some people do it for
What does conversion mean? What does conversion mean? Yeah, from one thing to another. There are convertibles. You know, those little things that you have the top that comes up when it's cold and it goes down when it's hot. I got a treadmill. I got Erica a treadmill and me a treadmill for Christmas. And it was a big old box, 300-pound box. Jay Morrow helped me move it in the house. He had a dolly. And we opened the package up, and the big console piece was destroyed. It was smashed. It happens. So I called the company, and they sent me a new one. Came in the mail yesterday. I was like, yeah, all right. I finally get to put this thing together. I put it together. I screw all the pieces in. And then on the back, there's these little things you click on so you can control it. Little cords, little harnesses there. One's a 6-pin, and the one that we had is an 8-pin. It won't work. It won't work. But I can buy a 6 to 8-pin converter adapter, change it. A conversion is a change. Some people get out of the water and they don't change. It's a constant change. We're not fully converted in all things. Our minds are still maybe planted in our former selves in some things, or perhaps we've learned lessons and we can convert or change our minds on certain aspects that what God actually says, or things like that. Some people believe, you know what? All I have to do for worship is take the Lord's Supper. Some churches would have the Lord's Supper at the beginning of worship. Some members would take the Lord's Supper and then leave. Elders finally caught on and said, we're doing this last. Perhaps that's why Fairview does it last. I don't know. Well, since I've been here, it's always how we've done it. Last. Do it last. Those people who left aren't converted. They want to do the bare minimum. What's going to get me into heaven? Tell me what I have to do. And they'll check it off. There you go. Converted. Matthew 19:14.
But Jesus said, suffer little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is all about conversion. Paul was telling the Jews, you are not saved because of who you are. You are circumcised in the flesh, but you're uncircumcised in the heart. You're not converted. As these little children, perfect children, pure and innocent. All right, let's move on. Verse 13. Their throat is an open sepulcher. With their tongues they have used deceit. The position of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Wow. Sounds like the United States of America in the year 2021, doesn't it? It didn't start in the year 2021. It probably started hundreds of years ago, and it just finally diminished to where we are. Their throat, figurative speech, obviously. Our vocal cords are in the throat, right? So our throat is an open sepulcher. Our words come out of our mouth, and they're ugly and awful. Really, that comes from the heart, not the throat. The throat's just the instrument. What we say, what we think, what we do, it all comes from here. You know, when you hear things like, we're going to rope this off, the pews off, immediately your first reaction is, really? But then you have to put a brake on it and be like, hey, Patience, right? Patience. Think of others and not of self. All those things. So it wouldn't do anybody any good to go around and say, I can't believe the elders decided to do this. If you have a problem with that, by the way, you probably need to speak to them and not to somebody else in the congregation. Speak to them. And you do it in a loving way. Because perhaps, not particularly with roping off pews, that's really not a big deal. Thank goodness we can do something like that so we can still be here. That's how we need to think about it. But people can go to the elders and complain and not even know the half of it. Instead, they probably need to speak to the individual with whom they have a problem. Fix that problem right then and there instead of going to the elders and making their jobs more miserable, making them make decisions, weighing more problems on their shoulders. Make sure you have the full information. But don't. It comes from the heart, not the throat. With their tongues, they use deceit. Again, figurative language. Deceit comes from the heart. Misrepresentation, it's a lie. I now call PolitiFact PolitiFalse. PolitiFact is fact-checking. They're PolitiFalse. Can't say the truth in much anything anymore. It's practiced in society, and there's no remorse for it. It doesn't even bother the conscience anymore. And therefore, people, hey, you know what? We'll just do what we want. But that's not righteousness, is it? If everybody does that, we're going to fall quick and real fast. People are deceiving, giving misinformation out there for their own benefit. From, I want to make myself feel good, to wealth. But it's from deceit. And we will have our reward for that. Revelation 21:8. Fearful first, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, whoremongers, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars. They will face that second death. The poison of asps is under their lisp. That's from Psalm 140:3. Words have the power of life and death. Words are very strong. Let me ask you this. Can we take back what we said? You may apologize for it. You may be remorseful for it. They may even forgive you and try really hard to forget what has been said, has come out of our mouths. But is it always the case that it's gone? No. What we've done when we've said something regretful is we have laid a hindrance on ourselves and the people that try to forgive us. You see, those who forgive us for what we say, they want to forget it. But even they become tested and tried when they fight that temptation to bring that back out. Remember what you said 10 years ago? And they'll bring it back out. That's a temptation on them. And it all starts with here, the tongue. If we can just hold our tongues. Why does that take so long to learn that lesson? I don't reckon I haven't even fully learned that lesson now today. I'm 38 years old, about to be 39. I tell you what, I talked a whole lot when I was a teenager. A little bit less in my 20s, and a whole lot less in my 30s. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a great illustration. We've done that. I remember before I even went to Memphis, Todd and I did that with the youth. We did the toothpaste illustration to our kids. We can easily squeeze that toothpaste out of the tubes, can't we? Now try to put it back in. You'll make more of a mess than you will just not even letting it out, right? By the way, squeeze not from the middle, from the end, if you will. I'd appreciate that. And screw on the top. I would just love that. I don't know why I'm telling y'all that. I need to tell my kids that. Oh, boy. But yes, the poison, deadly words. Deadly words. Their mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. That thought's found from Psalm 10 and 7. If you'd notice, he's saying things from the book of Psalms, and he's speaking to Jews who have the scrolls, who should know this word, these words. They're full of blasphemies and oaths. They are aimed against God. Thus the mouth which he created to bless him is used to grieve him. By bitterness is meant those wounding, stinging words which the wicked utter. None suffer from them as do the innocent. One who has that heart, that rebellious heart against God, he's going to utter every single word against him. He will go above and beyond. It gets me. It blows my mind with these atheists. Absolutely blows my mind. Oh, you don't believe in God? Okay, great. And then they go far out and above to make sure that, hey, I don't believe in God. They want to make billboards and things like that. God does not exist. Or they'll make jokes. I don't believe in God. I believe in the spaghetti monster. Just mocking, utterly mocking. And it hurts us because we know that God does exist and we know their fate unless their hearts change. Or we can utter words right back at them and say, well, yeah, you're going to hell. Can't take that back either. Their feet are swift to shed blood. How about that? What does that make you think of? How many babies have been murdered? By the way, legality does not mean morality. I'm allowed to do this. Don't make you right. My body, my choice. All those who advocate pro-choice, they try their very best to make people feel sorry for them to support their agenda. How you think the alphabet community? I say alphabet because I can't see L, G. What's the next one? T, B, Q. How do they get so much power? They're bullying me. I can't be myself. I'm scared. Not scared anymore, are they? No, they have power now. All those who advocated pro-choice, the alphabet community, they have opened a Pandora's box. Because next comes marrying children, just like they do on the overseas. Can't say anything about it. No, we advocated for the alphabet community. Love is love. What's to say that I say, wait now, when it comes to children, by the way, one state just passed a law saying that 16-year-old girls can get an abortion without telling their parents. How are we supposed to parent our child and be concerned with our child's mental capacity from that abortion? Can't. How many are trying to advocate? Even Joe Biden, in one of his town hall, one of the women said, my 8-year-old daughter, who was really her son, and Joe Biden defended that son. They're advocating that, trying to say there might be a time, and I don't see it much further along, where they're going to start pulling children out of homes. My mommy and daddy won't let me be a girl. That's child abuse, child neglect. Yeah. Oh, that will never happen. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-mm. Proverbs 1:16, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. Isaiah 59:7-8, their feet run to evil. They make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Wasting and destruction are in their paths. The way of peace they know not, and there is no judgment in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace. There it is. There it is. It'll never happen. Not in Tennessee. No. Well, I didn't get buzzed, and I should have been buzzed 10 minutes ago. So we'll just leave it at there. So if somebody can go ahead and buzz it twice so all the people and the kiddos in class, hey, Isabella, we can go ahead and get them out of here. Thank you for your time.